Alright, folks, Mirrorpoint, sorry. Hallownest, Mirrorpoint, turn 6. It's been a bit of a disappointing turn, to be honest. Expansion went fine. We took this province, we took that province, but, first of all, we've run into Ulm over here, which I expected to be running into somebody. More importantly, this is Anor Londo. This is their capital, so that means that we can't actually get the island like I was hoping. Now, I don't see any... There's no army here. I'm not sure where exactly the army has gone. It's an interesting question. I don't want to run into the Anor Londo army with Bugsy Seagull, because the Anor Londo army is likely to be, as I said, mainly Silver Knights, and Silver Knights would beat the shit out of Bugsy Seagull in any numbers, because they have high hit points and they have high damage magical attacks. So like 5 or 6 Silver Knights could probably kill Bugsy. That being so, I'm actually going to bounce with Bugsy here. I'm not going to move down to take Rim Mountains because I can't guarantee that they're not here and moving that way. So we're gonna hop on out. We're gonna go over here to Remacia, and we're gonna use Bugsy to try to grab off these provinces before Ulm does. I don't know if Ulm is moving to take this province or if they're moving north or what. So one of these provinces, or both, also has to be Ulmish. And we'll see which one it is. We're starting to build our palisade up in Wolfen Plain. I really would like to have a palisade in a mountain, which is probably right here in Sitha. I talked about that. I mentioned that briefly earlier because I need mountain shamans. And you can see here we can get mountain shamans who can give us that sweet, sweet earth magic, as well as the astral randoms. Alright, folks, Mirrorpoint turn 7. I've had a little bit of a talk with Anor Londo. Haven't really come to any conclusions at all. We did take all of our objective provinces this turn. So Bugsy Seagull took Remacia, we took Gwelladun, and we finally took Dubros with the help of our Moss Knight buddies. Moss Knights are pretty cool. They're not... How do I put it? In terms of stats, they're like if you scaled up warrior bugs. So warrior bugs have high defense, low protection, hit points, etc. Moss Knights have more hit points, low protection, high defense, and they hit harder. Not unreasonably hard. Their strength isn't all that, but hard enough. The problem with them, of course, is they're size 3. But if you mix them in with warrior bugs, they can serve a function much like great sentries, albeit not quite as good. So you can see here, troops winning against the archers. They also have a weird visual glitch, which I thought was fixed. Possibly I have to download a new file or something. I downloaded an update, but in any case, they visually glitch to black when they attack. But not sure what's going on there. In any case, so we took the province with no trouble. It was just Deer Tribe archers. We have 500 gold right now, so next turn we will start another fort, possibly 2 forts. We're moving Pud up here into Sitha. We're moving both of these commanders back down into Wick Forest, and we should be getting a couple more forts going up here. We see Ulm. There's no army up here. At least I don't think so. Both of these provinces are Ulmish, so we're going to hop over and take Grey Mercs with Bugsy Seagull, and then slip down to take Ironwood Forest as well. Over on this side, here we see Anor Londo's army. 30 units, mainly Silver Knights. That's probably like 3 turns recruitment, which makes me think that his expansion has been slow. I don't know if he has these provinces yet. He might. He may well have these provinces. From the capital, he's probably closing out his cap circle, and he may have taken some provinces over here as well. It kind of depends on whether he took an Awake Expander or not, which of course I just don't know. Down here, we've given our armies both to Ladar. We can see that battle in Gwelladun real quick. So we had our big blob of troops here in Gwelladun up against a ton of monkeys. Markata are like... Well, Markata are good chaff, but they're like warrior bugs except they suck, basically. Their ranged attack has garbage damage, albeit it does get to shoot twice per round. Their club attack is garbage damage. The only thing they've got going for them is high defense skill and being super, super cheap in size 1. So like I said, they're chaff. They can hold up for a while. Atavi archers, they're just archers except they're naked. And Atavi infantry are basically indie light infantry, except they have a ranged attack and they're naked. So, the Great Sentries pretty much just mulched their way through with no problem whatsoever. Lots of sticks and stones being thrown, lots of monkeys dying, no real damage being dealt back, and we chased them off the field. I think I hit one of my own guys with a cold bolt there. I lost 2 warrior bugs. So, all those troops have been folded into Ladar's army, and he's going up here to take out these Jaguar tribe. You can see I've got him split up into 2 smaller squads, sort of flanking like that, because morale is pretty decent, especially because they have great sentries in here. So averaging the morale out, these guys are at 11, these guys are at 17, or 16. Why are these guys at 17 and the other one's at 16? Squad morale bonus. Oh, no experience. So, you know, average morale is like 13 or 14 in both squads, which they'll be very good. That inspirational is actually doing a little bit of work for me. And down here, Lucky Luciano's going to shift down this way. He's going to pick up a few more Moss Knights. We're recruiting 4 more Moss Knights for him. And then, if this province is still unclaimed, we're going to kind of push our luck and swoop down to claim Iprisia as well. So what I need to do carefully here is I need to be sure not to get ganged up on by Anor Londo and Drangleic, which is a possibility. I am kind of pushing close to both of their cap circles, so if Anor Londo makes a stink about it in the next couple of turns, I probably actually will be willing to give him back Rame in exchange for a non-aggression pact or something, just because I don't want him to feel like I'm a huge threat, which of course I am. Probably. But in any case, I don't want to be fighting Anor Londo and Drangleic at the same time. I probably can if necessary, but I don't want to. So, we've got a little bit of site searching going on with Manhelte, who hasn't found anything yet. Noth is also going to start site searching, so we'll start searching up some fire and water sites as well. And pretty soon I'd like to send out Topagog to site search as well, so I could start building up some astral pearls, because of course my national spells require astral pearls. And having a guy who can site search for Astral 4 roaming around would be really nice. Also, Soul Twisters fly and have map move 20, which I didn't emphasize earlier, but they're very fast. So you can have high-level astral magic anywhere very quickly, especially if you also have some mountain shamans who can serve as communion slaves. Like with the Soul Twisters and the mountain shamans, 4 of these guys would boost you up to Astral 6 if you're wearing a booster, or if you cast Power of the Spheres and Light of the Northern Star. Soul Twisters can actually drop Master Enslave and similar very high-level astral spells, which is pretty nuts. Like, that's a lot of capability. That's very powerful. And of course, I can also use Bugsy Siegel as a Master Enslaver, since he has since I gave him Astral 6. So yeah, that will be the plan. We're taking that province, we're moving up Zanantes with another pretty solid little expansion army to take this province. After that, we'll kind of see where we want to go. Or I may take, I mean, it'll kind of depend on what Anor Londo does. If Anor Londo goes to take Rim Mountains, which in his place I would certainly do at this point, just to kind of make the point, then I'll go up to and take Cormark, and then filter this army, I'm not sure, possibly out this way, and see if I can break past Ulm a little bit. But we'll see what happens. So, that's turn 7. I'll see you all in turn 8. And yeah, still going down Conjuration. Next turn we'll hit Conjuration level 2. And it won't really give us much, but if we wanted to, we could start maybe summoning some ogres or something. I don't have any earth gems yet, so never mind that. I have a little bit of nature, but no income. Anyway, I'll see y'all next turn. Okay, folks, Mirrorpoint turn 8. This turn was actually a little bit frustrating. So over here, we took Grey Mercs, no trouble whatsoever. Our good old friend, the Radiance, Bugsy Siegel, jumped in and pretty much just vaporized everybody with his Flames of Justice. Or her, I suppose. The Radiance is technically female. You can see here the Militia actually routed from 1 hit. And then the Heavy Infantry got roasted and also routed before making contact. And then these archers back here are just kind of standing around getting roasted, and it all went very well. And then we had the battle in Bright Woods. Now, the battle in Bright Woods is against Jaguar Tribe. And Jaguar Tribe are not impressive. They've got these slings, which suck. They've got not a whole lot of armor. The Obsidian Club Swords can do some damage, but not a ton. I'm looking at this battle and I'm going, oh, I've got this in the bag. I've got all these great sentries to do the fighting for me, and some chaff and all that stuff, and watch what happens. Just watch what happens here. It's very depressing. Yeah, one random slingstone arcs way out from the others, nails the commander in the head, straight up kills him just as I make contact, and everybody routs. And one of my guys gets hit by a tangle vine and murdered. And then they all run away, right? And when they all run away, I lose 6 units. And when I go to look what 6 units I lost, well, over here I've got 5 warrior bugs, and up here I've got 3 great sentries. So I lost several great sentries in that, and it's very depressing. So, what we're doing about that is, up here we're recruiting some Moss Knights. Actually, I suppose we could recruit Great Stags here. Great Stags being Tramplers. I can only get 3 though, and 3 really isn't enough. So yeah, I'm going to go with Moss Knights. So we're going to recruit 4 Moss Knights. We're building a palisade here. We're building a palisade here. So we've started both of those. And of course, we've got our palisade here. We'll be done on turn 10. We're moving out Topagog, who's going to move up north, site search, and move up here to build the lab in Wolfenplain. Up here, we're moving Zananti's force into these ghouls, and Soulless should chop them up with no trouble whatsoever. And Bugsy Seagull Ulm is moving up an army, and he's saying that he plans to take 103, and in the interest of having good relations and not getting too close to Ulm itself, which is right here on the border of this island, I said, yeah, that's fine, and we're going to go north. We're going to take Anor first, since it's inside my Dominion for some reason. The Dominion overlays on this map are very strange. You can see they don't actually match up with the province borders, just because of how the game functions sometimes with maps generated by programs or maps designed for Dominions 4. So, this province is, like, the lines on the map say one thing, but this province, according to Dominions, is actually technically this shape, which is why the Dominion follows that shape. So we're going to take Anor, despite it not technically touching, I guess. And then we're going to take Nam. And we'll see where else we can go. We'll see how far we can get. Having lost that province is a real pain in the butt, but I might actually lose it to Anor Londo, which would be frustrating. If I can manage to gather up, if these troops can do it, assuming the commander doesn't get randomly aced in the head, they can absolutely manage it. It's just a question of the commander not getting randomly aced in the head. So we need to set Noth a little bit further back than his unfortunate compatriot. And that, right there, is Aurum. Aurum the Golden. So that means that they're down here somewhere. So we haven't managed to take the whole island, but honestly, with Aurum down there, might let them have that. Because that means that they have a border with Anor Londo, and that means that I might be able to convince them to help me fight Anor Londo and wipe them out early. I don't really want to kind of be extruded in between 2 other nations, because that puts you in a position where it's very easy for Anor Londo to say, hey, Aurum, how about we gang up on this guy who's in between us and beat him up and take all his lunch money? Which I'm not a big fan of. But overall, territory-wise, I think the expansion phase has gone very well for me. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that counts as mine. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 probably provinces, if not more. It is a little bit interesting to me that we have so many nations in proximity here, because 1, 2, 3, here. I guess that does cover most of the horizontal space. 4, 5, and if I recall correctly, we only have like 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we have 9. So it'll be interesting to see how far spread the nations are in this band across the world, which I haven't really explored yet. But yeah, so far things are going pretty well. Couple of unfortunate expansion failures down here in Dubros and then over here in Bright Woods. If those had succeeded, I would have about 20 provinces, but you know what? I'm okay with it. It'll be alright. This province has a whole bunch of wizards in it, I'm pretty sure, so I'm going to have to definitely gather my strength in order to take that. But it shouldn't be all that hard. Once expansion is over and we've got our forts set up, so we'll have a total of 4 forts by the end of the year. Now, they won't be upgraded, but all of them will be done by turn 12. At that point, it'll be a question of what our next priority what our next priority target is. Obviously, we want to take all of the thrones. We've got that throne right there. There's a throne down here on the other side of Drang Lake. There's a throne over here on the other side of Aurum. There's a throne. There are 2 thrones actually in close proximity up here north of Ulm, and then a 3rd and a 4th kind of spread past them. So in terms of getting points, the quickest way may be to aim our first thrust up north and take this area. That said, in terms of getting resources, our best bet is probably to take Anor Londo. Because if we can push across here and, as I said, secure this island, then that gives us a pretty big, a pretty significant amount of power, if we can do all of that. Pushing Aurum off the island probably won't be hard, because Aurum's troops are not fantastic compared to ours. We have high morale troops who can ignore their awe. Our troops have a very high stats, which Aurum's don't. And we can swarm them with warrior bugs if necessary. Similar against Anor Londo, so I think we can kind of pick which one we want to fight. I'm not quite sure. Right now, I kind of think that my first war is going to be against Anor Londo, and I'm going to try to do it even before I really have all my magic online. Kind of get my forts active, and then just sort of go in. I will want to take these swamps and search them for magic sites, but for right now, the only additional searching I'm doing, besides Manhelte continuing to site search, is I'm pushing Topagog north. As I said, we're going to search for astral sites to get some of that astral income going, because I'm not satisfied with 2. I would love to have more astral, so that I can, once I reach the proper levels, cast my national summoning spells very, very easily. So, that's turn 8. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in turn 9. Okay, folks, Hallownest turn 9. This was a pretty good turn. So, in Iprisia, we wiped the place out. That's this province down here. So we pushed down south with our army of now primarily Moss Knights, since we lost so many of our troops. And Moss Knights are honestly pretty good units. They function pretty well. They hit hard. They have decent defense skill. Their protection is low, but they have high enough HP to make up for it. So they function as about as effectively as human infantry, or a little more so. Human heavy infantry, that is. So we lost 1 Moss Knight, wiped out the enemy, no problem. In Anramark, the Radiants went in and burned everyone to death. No problem. As you can see there, the militia was almost destroyed before contact, actually, and the heavy infantry followed quite shortly thereafter. And then we started dropping hot fire on the heavy infantry and the archers. Good. And in Cormark, we went in to finish filling in the gaps with our army of primarily Great Sentries, and did very well. Started throwing some Fireflies, Great Sentries got in there, Warrior Bugs filtered in through them. Overall, nice little neat victory. Wrapped it up with a bow on top, no casualties. 19 kills for 7 Great Shamans. Very nice, fellas. Now, I've got 13 more units here. What I'm doing is I'm moving one of my mages, Zeki, down here. I'm hoping that from here he'll be able to skip through Inarime without stopping there and land in Wick Forest, or maybe can hop through to Dubros and then go down to Wick Forest in order to build a lab and a temple in that forest, because of course they are sacred, and although they're not priests, sacred units can build temples. Here, we can construct temples. Noth, meanwhile, is searching for magic sites. Got 13 units. We're recruiting 4 more Moss Knights, just kind of for the hell of it. Up here, Zanantes is searching for magic sites, and we'll search back towards home in order to pick up more troops. We are still recruiting alternating Great Sentries and Warrior Bugs, because we are probably going to be going to war with Anor Londo pretty soon. The expansion phase is definitely coming to a close. We're actually quite extended in terms of expansion. We've got a very reasonable number of provinces, pretty decent income. It is time to start thinking about wars and rumors of wars. And the 2 obvious targets are Anor Londo and Ulm. From a geopolitical perspective, Anor Londo is the one to go for, because Anor Londo is small on this island, which means that even if they've conquered a whole bunch of territory up here, it's possible to isolate that territory by striking at Mirrorpoint, and we should be able to take them out pretty quickly. Taking out Ulm would be a bit of a pain. Now, they probably wouldn't be able to deal with the Great Sentries super well, but even so, we'll kind of leave that there. I've made contact with Satis. That is a very dangerous god they have, the Devourer of Souls, because the Devourer of Souls has an attack that, if it hits, automatically soul slays you. No save, no magic resistance roll, nothing. You are soul slain, you are dead. Period. End of. So, I really don't want to fight Nom the Balancer of Scales, because he will absolutely murder Bugsy Siegel. So, I contacted Stis, Made an agreement. I'm going to take this province. They're going to take that province. We're going to make a non-aggression pact. Everyone will be happy. And I'll get another province, so I'll definitely be happy. Fort will be done next turn. Topagog will move in, build a lab, and then site search. Have to get somebody in to build a temple, so probably Zenantes will actually work down this way and then go up there to do that. Olma has taken the Ironwood Forest, which is, okay. I could have fought him over that, but I didn't really feel like it. I won't have many resources in Wolfen Plain, but that should be fine because warrior bugs, of course, require very, very little by way of resources, and Hallownest sentries actually require the same amount of resources but more gold. So if I really wanted to, I could mix warrior bugs and Hallownest sentries for the higher damage, better quality attacks. I'm still not sure it's worth it. If I was going to recruit another unit, I would be recruiting Hallownest Lancers, since they fly and so they're better at sieging, and they have this nail lance, so they can land a hit of about 20 damage or so the first round. So I can drop them into the back of enemy formations. So that's all going hunky-dory. 3 turns for that palisade, 3 turns for that palisade. We're building the lab. Then we're going to build a temple here. Noth is site searching, and then build the temple while Manhelte moves away to site search more. We're not taking Bright Woods because, as I said, that would put us directly between Aurum and Anor Londo, and I'm okay if Anor Londo wants to take this province. I can take it back away from them without too much trouble. If Aurum takes that province, diplomatically that would be a little bit of an issue, but I would just take it away from them when I went to fight Anor Londo. I wouldn't be too worried about it. And I think overall that is the turn. Research-wise, research continues at a glacial pace, since I'm moving my mages all around doing all this stuff. I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mages out moving around right now. So, and of course I got 1 killed, so that's 6. That's most of the mages I've recruited are moving around instead of researching things for me, but that's fine. I'll hit Conjuration level 3 sometime here. And of course my speed will jump up as I finish more palisades and more labs, and start pumping out more mages. I do have to get temples, so I do have to have Zenantes, like I said, get over here. Can Zenantes reach there in 1 turn? He can, okay. So let's search, and then we'll hop on over, build the temple, and start churning out Snail Shamans from Wolfen Plain, and we'll start churning out Forest Shamans from Wick Forest, and probably mainly Mountain Shamans from Sitha as soon as we can. The Mountain Shamans are probably the most valuable overall. And once we've got those 3 forts up and running, we will try to swap over to producing almost entirely Soul Twisters at home. And it should be real good. Should be a lot of fun. So, that's the plan. Like I said, probably going to war with Anor Londo pretty quickly, like turn... I don't know how long it'll take to gather troops up. Probably by the middle of year 1. We'll be at war with Anor Londo, and hopefully by the end of year 1 we'll have them mostly overrun. That, of course, will require us to be summoning elementals, which we have plenty of gems to summon water elementals with. Not a whole lot of fire, but plenty of water, and it will require us to deploy, a bunch more mages. But we'll get to that when we get to it. It'll be pretty soon now, probably. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in turn 10. Alright folks, Mirrorpoint turn 10. The map is starting to close up, and it will be interesting to see how well things go. So we've moved Lucky Luciano back, and he's building a temple here in Wick Forest. Up here, we took Nom, and that looks like it's going to be the end of our unopposed expansion into neutrals for now. I could potentially, if I'd wanted to, I could maybe have used Lucky to push on and take like this province and maybe even that province. But I thought it would be better to fall back and kind of secure my position. I didn't have all that many units left. My army is largely composed of Moss Knights now, and my Great Sentry is about to die of his disease, so that's going to take a significant fraction of my hitting power away. I am still recruiting more Moss Knights, and to be honest, they're growing on me. I hadn't been using them too heavily before, but the fact that you can recruit them, their foreign recruitment in forests, means that you can use them to kind of maintain your momentum. They hit hard, and they've got high defense skill, and good hit points, so the low protection doesn't hurt them as much as you might think. Plus they have forest survival, so I mean that's kind of nice. If only there was a Moss Knight commander with forest survival, but there is not. What you can do is you can lead them with a Hallownest captain, and when led with a Hallownest captain they can zoom through forests very quickly. Been doing a little bit of single player testing about that as well. But I've got my palisade finished in Wolfen Plain. We're building the forest, and we're searching for magic sites this turn, because my money is going to build that temple down there. Manhelte is researching, and we're recruiting a whole bunch of units. So we're recruiting Moss Knights here, we're recruiting Moss Knights here, we're not recruiting Moss Knights up here. I could start recruiting Warrior Bugs up here, but I switched from Scout to Pathfinder, so I'm going to recruit a couple of Pathfinders. We did manage to infiltrate Dranglek's capital, which gives us the score graphs for him, and immediately I know that I'm doing well. Province-wise, I have probably double his, so I have, I think, 18 provinces right now. He probably only has 9 or 10. I've got my first fort. He hasn't built his first fort yet, and my income is not double his, because for some reason my income started at quite a bit lower. Like, that's like, what, 75 or 100 per turn lower. But I have surpassed him, and I'm now making probably a third again as much income, which is fantastic. And my research is going up because Monomon the Teacher just appeared at the gates of my fortress. One of the finest mines of bug kind. Astral nature water, so not the most fantastic combat paths, but good for casting ritual spells, and tons of research. Plus inspiring researcher. So Monomon is going to sit at home researching for now, and she is single-handedly providing half of my research, or close to half at the moment. Now, we're preparing to attack Anor Londo, and that's going to have to be a two-pronged thrust. We're going to have to go in here through Bright Woods, and we're going to have to push up north and go in through Rim Mountains and Forest of Gila. If we move fast, we should be able to get onto Anor Londo pretty quickly. Bringing back Bugsy Seagull to provide ranged support behind an army, Bugsy Seagull can use this Radiant Blaze weapon very, very effectively. Armor-piercing, fire, magical damage. That is good. Only real downside to it is if the enemy has taken a Fire Shock Resist Bless, in which case they won't take much, if any, damage from the hit. Because their protection can usually block 10 armor-piercing damage. It'll just be like a crossbow bolt hitting. Still, better than nothing. I've got my army up here, Zanantes. I'm not recruiting any Moss Knights there either. He's site-searched that province, so we're going to move him down here. This army, this significant force, is moving north with Urgun, and it's moving up to Sinafi, since it can't reach that province in one turn, where we will meet Bugsy Seagull. And then we'll move over into Gold Mountains, and we'll be ready to attack. This palisade will be done in 2 turns. So as I said, I'm recruiting Moss Knights. Great Stags I don't think will be terribly helpful. They're a little bit harder to mass, more expensive, and they're vulnerable tramplers. They're just not exciting, really. I just don't think they're that valuable. Manhelte is actually leading this army while Noth moves out to site search. Zeki is skipping entirely over Inorime to avoid getting diseases. He's going to land in Dubros, then dodge down into Wick Forest in time to build the lab/temple there. We're going to get a lab here. We are going to need a shaman, a snail shaman, to build a temple there. So unfortunately, that might have to wait a little bit. We might not be recruiting mages out of there immediately, but we will be recruiting mages here, and that will be pretty good. So, getting set for the attack on Anor Londo. Probably going to take, like I said, about 3-4 turns. I may actually want to leave Zanantes here and recruit some more Moss Knights up there. But I really do want to be recruiting troops in both of these locations just to kind of help reinforce, help keep us on an even keel. In terms of how Moss Knights compare to Silver Knights, they're worse. They're significantly worse. Attack 11, 18, 8 prot, 18 HP, 15 defense. We can look at the Silver Knights. Higher defense, higher protection significantly, and significantly higher hit points. Plus they do more damage with magical weapons. But Silver Knights cost twice as much. More than twice as much, actually. 45 compared to what? Yeah, 15. 3 times as much. And almost 3 times the recruitment points. So, as soon as that palisade's down there, I can spam out a whole bunch of Moss Knights. And at 3 or 4 to 1 odds, my Moss Knights, backed up with a few great sentries, who are just as good, if not are actually better than Silver Knights Unblessed, and some Warrior Bug Chaff, will be able to settle the score. So up north, this army, so these 18 plus these 21, these 40 units, should be able to pretty much collapse Anor Londo defenses, at least at first. I may actually want to go in with them first and then push into Bright Woods once this army has kind of been drawn off. But the very first thing I want is I want to get scouts into Anor Londo's territory, which fortunately shouldn't take long. I'm recruiting Atavi chieftains, who are stealthy and so can be used as scouts. And they also have leadership, which is sort of hilarious. and we are sending them into enemy territory. I could be recruiting Atavi units who are also stealthy to try and raid with. And that could honestly be a usable idea. I'm just worried that they'll bounce off province defense, because Atavi are garbage. They wear no armor, their stats are not impressive, they're really bad. Like, even Atavi infantry here, their attack skill and defense skill, very mediocre, protection 1, hit points 10, and their morale is low, so they tend to run. So, I don't really trust these Atavi to successfully raid provinces for me, so I'm going to stick with just my regular armies. But we should be hitting Conjuration 3 in just a couple of turns, at which point we'll be able to summon lesser elementals. That means I should probably deploy some gems. So Zenantes has Fire 2, so he'll be able to summon lesser fire elementals. Noth, why is Noth moving? Oh, that's right, Noth is moving to Site Search. And Ergun is also Fire 2, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Ergun all 7 fire gems. And up here, this army can be supported by summoning fire elementals. I've got Farrell, Finfag, Noth. I've got a laboratory here, so before Noth moves away, what I'm going to do is give Noth like 10 water gems. So Noth will move down here, Site Search, that's 2 turns. Move back to Gwelladun, 3 turns. 1, 2. And then, yeah, I might stagger my attack by 1 turn, because I want to wait 1 turn for Sitha to produce a bunch of warrior bug chaff as well. So yeah, I think that will be the plan. And I think around turn 13-14, we'll be going into Anor Londo and doing some damage. So, that's the plan. Ulm seems to be doing okay for themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 provinces that I can see, which puts them at least on an even keel with Drangleic, probably a little bit better. Aurum, right here. Aurum and Anor Londo actually ran into each other, and it looks like Aurum got wrecked. So these Silver Knights, they took some casualties, which is great. And Aurum's army was destroyed, so honestly, if I wasn't planning to go attack Anor Londo immediately, my reaction to this would be to move down and retake these provinces from Aurum and just say, stay off my island. But I don't really want to do that and be fighting Anor Londo, because what I don't want is I don't want Aurum to send up an army this way to attack me while I'm busy fighting Anor Londo. I would rather just be friends with them for the moment, and then I can always kick them off the island later. They will find this hard to defend against me, especially if I own the rest of the island. And of course I can recruit monkeys, and their province defense I suspect will be less imposing. Well, actually province defense is probably about the same for them, so never mind that. But we're doing well. Research has spiked because of Monomon, and we've got our armies, we're getting our armies into position. Should be a good turn. So, thanks for watching, I'll see you all in turn 11. Oh, and Bugsy Seagull is hopping down here, I think I mentioned that. I could jump across the water to hit this province blindly, but it's probably owned by Satis. Like, 99% owned by Satis. So, I'm just going to leave it alone. Satis and I have a non-aggression pact, and we are good to go up there. And I would rather focus on Anor Londo. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 11.